Hey everyone, and welcome back to another fun-filled episode of Corey's Cast. Today I have my mom on set with me for our year-end holiday extravaganza podcast.
Yep.
Before we get started, wherever you're watching this, please make sure you're subscribed and following. Wherever you're listening to this, please make sure you're subscribed and following as well so you can stay up to date with everything going on here at Corey's Cast.
Exactly.
So Mom, welcome to the set.
Thank you. Thank you. I love being here. I love being back.
Yeah.
Love being back. Can't wait to see the new set next year.
I know. Next year we've got some big things in store, so make sure you're always keeping up with everything going on here at the studio at Linda's.
Exactly.
So we have our very festive Christmas sweaters on today.
We do. Yeah. We're feeling in the Christmas spirit
We are
today.
in the Christmas spirit today, which is super duper fun. And that is going over, not going over, that's falling into today's topic.
Yes.
Today we really just wanted to talk about Christmas traditions.
Yeah.
And things that we've experienced, things that we've done as a family, and then also hear from all of you as well. Make sure you drop in the comments some of your Christmas traditions. It might be something that someone else hasn't thought of, and that's something they'd like to, start doing with their family as well. You never know.
Exactly. I love reading. Anytime we ask, questions like Thanksgiving ideas, Christmas traditions, Easter, anything that we've asked in the past, some of the things that we read are like, oh, I want to try that. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Why haven't we thought of that yet? So I think everybody loves seeing the different things people do. Because if anything, we're getting great ideas.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's talk about some of the Christmas traditions from your childhood. There's things that I'm sure that you've done we really haven't ever talked about some of your childhood, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Traditions. What are some of the things that you remember that kind of were things that when they came around to the holiday time, you got really excited to do?
Some of them that I did move forward with you, and we did when we were younger, or when you were younger, the things that I really enjoyed. So I could talk a little bit about that. I think one of my things that comes to mind first when I think of the traditions that we did, I've had multiple ones, but this is the first one. Mm-hmm. Was we would do Secret Santa cookies. So we basically would bake. This was before you could go to Sam's and buy them and just put them in a thing, which I have done before. But you would literally for 2 days bake all your different cookies you like, brownies, sugar cookies, things like that. And then you would put them on a paper plate because it was back before you would buy the tin cans and the Tupperware.
Right.
All the stuff that people do today, this was the cost-effective way to do it. Make it from scratch, put it on a nice little paper plate, and then we would just kind of wrap it up in a bow and then have from Secret Santa, right?
Yeah.
So then as a family, we would pick, 5 to 10 families that we would want to drop them off at. So all of us kids, as we got a little bit older, would get an opportunity to say, okay, you pick somebody and you pick somebody. That way we had at least one person that we would want to go see and drop it off, right? So I can remember the year I was a teenager. We did this when I was younger too, but when I was a teenager, I was like, okay, I'm going to pick, I had a crush on the church leader's son. So this was early teenage years. And I was like, I really want to do their house. Let's do their house. And so when you picked the house, you got to be the one that was going to be the runner and that would ring the doorbell. And then you would have to go hide to make sure that they heard the doorbell because you didn't want to leave the cookies out there all night, right? Because they were wrapped in saran wrap, but we all know saran wrap, not the best sometimes. And so then, so I got to, and it was me and my sister. We always did everything in twos. And we ran and did that, and we hid behind their bushes, and they didn't come to the door the first time. And we were like, oh, do we go back? Because they see us. They had a big yard, so you didn't have a lot of places to hide that were close to be able to see. So the car had to be really far back, right? And so mom and dad, your grandma and grandpa were far back. And anyway, so we rang the doorbell the second time, and we got to see their excitement in it. And the little boy I had a crush on was the one that opened the door. So of course for me it was made my day, right? As a kid when you have a crush. So that was just one of the things that we would do yearly from when I was little all the way up until through my teenage years is. We would just do the Secret Santa stuff, and that was so fun. And it was just cookies, and then we just picked families that, whether it was a crush or whether it was somebody that we knew in church that just needed that extra little smile that year, and we would just deliver them, and that just made our day. It was fun, and so we did that all the way through you growing up too, and I think you probably could remember doing that a few times. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that tradition on your side of it, what you remember on that, and we'll jump into the next one.
It It's the same thing you do.
I know, but what are some of the memories that you have maybe doing it?
I remember baking the cookies or doing the brownies, like you said, and then we're wrapping it up. And this is when we got upgraded to plastic boxes,
Yes.
plastic little Tupperware things, and we would go around and drop them off to different friends, family, people in church, and again ring the doorbell and kind of run away and hide to see their excitement. And it has slowly shifted over the years. Now with technology, it's not as easy to be secretive with Ring doorbells and whatnot these days. But there are different ways that we still try to do that kind of.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as kind of the adrenaline rush of ringing the doorbell and running away.
Yeah, no, that one when those doorbell cameras came out, that kind of excitement went away when it came to like the surprise aspect. So it was finding other things and different things to do. So now when you bring it, you just are like, you see them, Merry Christmas, but you still enjoy doing that for them.
For sure.
But it was just that fun secret that they did not know. They had no clue who it came from. And most of those years, they didn't know. Most people did not know where the stuff came from.
Yeah, just to have a little sweet treat.
Yeah. And
Christmas.
it was always on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
We always did it on Christmas Eve so that they would have it for that night or the next day.
Yeah.
And so, that was super fun. So another thing that I remember doing as a kid, and I also brought it into you, was the PJs the night before from Santa.
Mm-hmm.
So it was always, growing up as a kid, we always would have the, PJs delivered to us. And for a long time, Santa would come deliver them to us personally, which means they just found somebody at church that could dress up as Santa. Mm-hmm. We didn't know that as little kids. We just thought Santa actually came to our house the night before and was bringing us PJs.
Yeah, he might have. You never know.
That at least got us to bed. So it worked. And so, moving on, we did that, loved it. That was the one time of the year, because we, again, didn't have a lot of money back then, was when we got our PJs for the year. That was our new PJs. That's all we had all year long for PJs. And we just were so excited to see what Santa picked out for us for PJs that year. And needless to say, most of them were homemade by my mom for a long time. We didn't really put it all together that the fabric that was in the sewing room was the same fabric that was in the PJs.
Hey.
We just didn't put together when we were little.
Santa knows things.
It wasn't until we got older that we realized it was, mom and dad, or mom making them for us so that way we could have a new set of PJs every year. So that was a super fun tradition that we really enjoyed doing that I brought forward with you for a long time.
Yeah, you still do it, actually. Yeah. She still does it. She still gets Santa to send us PJs. I still believe in Santa. I don't care what anyone has to say. Santa is my guy.
Well, I still tell Ryan. Ryan, when he was younger, he was like, Mom, And I'm like, what do I know? And he was like, but he's not. And I'm like, if you don't believe, you don't get anything.
No. Santa's my guy.
So you got to believe if you want him to come.
Presents keep showing up, so I keep believing.
And he's like, okay, Mom, because he's very logical. Yes. And I'm like, okay, don't believe. I said, the one year you tell me you don't believe the night before, I'm not sure if he's coming.
Oh, no. I love Santa. I love everything about it. My biggest story from PJs is when Grandma used to live out in Lone Oak,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Out in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of literal sticks, folks.
Like dirt
sticks
road.
and pond.
Dirt road to dirt road to pond, yeah.
And she lived out on some land, and we were all there together as a family. The majority of us were there together as a family.
Yeah.
And we were all sitting in the living room and just playing games. I don't remember what we were doing.
I think you were like 5 or 6.
Oh, I don't remember how old
I was.
Yeah, it was
5 or 6.
I do remember this memory vividly. I don't remember how old I was. But we're all sitting there, and all of a sudden, there's this huge pounding on the top or on the roof, and it sounds like someone's walking on top of the roof, and it's loud. And so all of the kids, we and myself included, got really excited, and we ran to the back patio because that's where the footsteps were going. And we opened the door, and there was nothing there. And you could hear Grandma or somebody be like, maybe you should check the front door, not the back door. So we run to the front door. I run to the front door as fast as I can. Mm-hmm. And I open the door, excuse me, and lo and behold, there is this huge bag of presents from Santa. And I grab the bag and run with it to the living room and start going through it by myself. Until I think you stopped me.
Yeah,
it was like,
okay.
hey, well, let's wait for everybody. And
because there was lots of grandkids there,
were a lot
that
of us,
year.
yeah.
So lots of your age, because they're all about your age and older now or younger, but they were most of them were all there. And so this was like super fun.
Yeah, so we got to all go through and see what Santa picked out for us that year. And we all had to, let's see, Grandma's house had rooms, but they were all pointed towards the back behind the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And you had, as adults, this might not be legal now, folks. As adults back in the day, they made 47 of us sleep in one room on the floor on Christmas Eve.
It was not 47.
It was 47
no,
people. It was 47.
Maybe 2.
There were not 2 of us.
3, maybe 3.
7 kids in a room, and you could hear that the adults, because you have adult time, and the kids said it was time to go to bed. Santa's coming in the morning, and we could hear you out there laughing and mumbling and paper rumbling, and we would all peek under the door to see what was going on. And eventually, they caught on and stuffed a towel under the door, and we all finally went to sleep and woke up Christmas morning at Grandma's, and it was incredible.
We all slept in the living room. It was a small space, and there wasn't hotels in the area. And so we just, all the family, there had to have been 30 of us probably at that time, all found a place to lay on a couch, on the floor, in a bed, just wherever we can make it work. In the sewing
room, underneath the sewing machine.
Yes, exactly.
Because Grandma had room for guest rooms, but they were sewing rooms. So if you wanted to stay, you're going to get cozy with the singer, all right?
But it was fun.
Right? Those different memories
so fun.
I don't know. Have you been scrolling on Facebook recently and you see that 90s nostalgia Christmas where nothing matched?
Yeah.
It was just a riot, tinsel everywhere.
Yep.
And it's like, one year I'm going to do that. Just go crazy.
Yep.
It was like, those were the days.
That's how it was growing up for us. I mean, we had always had tinsel on all of our trees. It was a mess to clean up afterwards. Mm-hmm. But Grandma wanted to make sure that tinsel was put on all the trees, right?
She still does.
Yeah, no, that's true.
She still loves her tinsel. Her main tree. But yeah, that pajama thing, that's still a fun one. And so like right now I have kept that tradition going. Currently I don't have children, but I do have a dog. And Tucker's like my kid. So every Christmas Eve he gets a new sweater. Mm-hmm. And that's his PJs.
There you go.
From Santa. And then he opens a stocking on Christmas morning, which is filled with dog treats and whatnot. But
and it's funny because it didn't matter what the PJs were, right? Mm-mm. We started this tradition, and my mom had it, and then we had it, obviously. And when I was being a single parent with Corey, because his dad and I divorced when he was 2, or 3, something like that. But no, I think we separated 2 and then divorced.
Okay, 3. Anyway,
so, just so I have the facts right there. I just didn't have money to get all that fancy stuff. So it was just that Black Friday when Black Friday was Friday morning, going before work and going and get those $5 PJs, right? It was just the $5 PJs. That's what worked for years and years and years. And not the most comfortable PJs for you, not even for me, because, when you buy them for the children, you had to get them for the adults too. That was part of it. It just wasn't the kids that got them, the adults got them too, because Santa came to see everybody, and I wasn't going to spend, even $20 on a pair of PJs for me. So I got the same, whether it was matching or close or $5 PJs.
It's that one trick fleece that does not stretch,
nope.
A little itchy. But it didn't matter.
It didn't matter, right?
It was all about how it made you feel and how the excitement for the next day.
Yeah, so I think just having those simple, small traditions just allows you to have those memories. Yeah. Allows the kids to have the memories, the adults to have the memories, and it doesn't have to cost a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I've said this a few times on our podcast, so you have tissues over there. You might start crying.
Oh.
I've said this a few times on our podcast, and I'll continue to say it. I think it's incredible. Like, parents are incredible. My mom's incredible. But she says, and I know now, back in the day, we did not have funds. Like, we didn't. Funds as in money. We had fun, but we didn't have a lot of money at all. But like I never knew. Like Christmas morning was still like I just got the jackpot at Toys R Us. Like I don't know how she did it, but she did it. She kept a roof over my head. I always had great birthdays. I always had great Christmases. I never had a clue that we didn't have money. And so that's like a tradition, I guess, that I'll always remember is that I always had everything that I needed, and you always made sure I had almost everything I wanted for Christmas, which means sometimes you would maybe go to bed hungry because you didn't get to eat. But,
Okay, let's not start. I don't want to start crying now.
but I don't know. I think it's incredible that Christmas is my favorite time of year, but to really talk about not only the traditions, but like how blessed we are and how far we've come. Like it's incredible that we can sit here today in the studio and do these types of things when back in the day we could barely pay our bills. Like it's just incredible the hard work and everything that you've put in to make that happen. So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
Thank
No,
you.
it was extremely hard. I mean, obviously, anybody that's been a single parent or 2-parent household, but the income is just not coming in. You're barely paying the bills. You're just making the. Here you go.
Oh, thanks. You were supposed to cry, not me.
No, I'm trying to hold it in. The barely making the ends meet, right? And you don't want the kids to know. And one thing I did growing up, and Corey is right, or not growing up when he was growing up, is I tried not to let him know anything that was going on, just anything that's happening with the family, anything that was happening everywhere. I just tried to always, I didn't shelter him from the world, but I sheltered him from what was happening in my life that could personally affect him. Because I didn't ever want him to see me sad or see me cry. And he did a few times, But I mean, I tried.
She said she stubbed her toe.
Yeah, I always tried to I never told him what it was about, right?
Yeah.
And I think, that was so important for me growing up was to never talk about the other person.
Yeah.
Never talk about anything negative that could affect him in his life. And I think I'll leave it there at that.
Yeah.
So,
and I appreciate that.
and so with doing that, that rolled into the money side, that rolled into the job, that rolled into if we were going to have food that month.
Yeah. All that stuff. And you kept persevering and you kept going. This rolls into a story that I would like to tell, and she's not going to be able to compose herself, folks. I don't know if I'll be able to compose myself either. There was one Christmas when we had just moved in to our house here in McKinney, and you had said that because we got this new house, we wouldn't be able to have Christmas this year. You were very upfront. You said Santa might come, but I don't know because he's helping me with other things. And I said, okay. Christmas Eve, you still got me pajamas. And we went across the street to a friend's house for a party, a get-together or something. I don't remember. And about 8:30, 9 o'clock, we left. And we walked back across the street. And lo and behold, there was this front porch filled with Christmas gifts. From members of the church that got told through the grapevine that you were having a hard time. And they didn't want either one of us to go without Christmas that year. And our front porch, folks, was filled. Couldn't even make it to the front door with presents. And all I remember screaming, Mom, Santa came early. Santa came early.
Yeah, I was trailing behind you, and I was just like, what do you mean? And of course I got there and was so surprised at the love that was shown to me and to Corey. I didn't go to church much. I didn't know what was happening and what I was believing during those times. It was very hard, struggling as a single parent, trying to figure a lot of things out. And all I wanted to do is make sure I could pay the bills. I had lost my job, and not into any fault of my own. The company closed, filed bankruptcy, and I didn't have a job. And I had just recently got a job, and that was actually the job at Linda's. We want to. My goodness, why did you bring this up?
It's a big part of my love for Christmas. That's why I had to bring it up.
So I didn't have a job for a few months. And I wasn't one to ask for help. I never got on welfare. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. Told myself I didn't deserve those things, that I had made too many mistakes in life, and I was just going to have to figure this out. And that was just me telling me these, not anybody else telling me these things.
Right.
Well, maybe other people were, but anyway, I just needed to figure all this stuff out. I had started Linda's in July of that year. Got sick in August, had to take a few weeks off to recover, and never told Linda or Rick anything, obviously. I just did the best I could, went back to work as soon as I could to make my little hourly wage that I was making back then, just so I could pay the bills. I never told them I couldn't afford Christmas, never told them anything. I didn't tell anybody those things because I didn't want to feel like a failure. I figured out, again, I was punishing myself. I've got to figure this out for both of us. And I couldn't. And so Corey was so good, right? He's right. He sat down and I just told him we're not going to be able to have Christmas presents this year because we put everything into getting the house and having to pay a payment on the house, and because I had got that previously to losing the job. But it's okay. We're still going to do all the Christmas activities that are, the free stuff that's around town. I made sure I took him to all that stuff so he could still have the Christmas spirit, see all the trees, the lights in the neighborhood. We just did everything that we could do that was free. We found all the free stuff. So to come home to that and see that it didn't matter that I hadn't shown up at church. It didn't matter to God the mistakes that I had made in my life. That he sent angels that Christmas to make sure that he knew that I knew that I was loved, and that Corey knew that he was loved. And it wasn't necessarily the monetary stuff for me, because I was an adult. It was just the love that I felt that changed my life. It changed a lot of perspectives on things. And ever since then, I have done my best to teach Corey, teach Ryan growing up of giving back, on how you always have to give back. No matter what you have in life, do your best to give back. And the Christmas season, it shouldn't be the only time we do it, but it seems to be the time that it's out there more publicly to help out and give back. So one of the things I started after that was the salvation tree. Remember the salvation tree at the mall?
Bring that one up, yeah, she would that following year, like she said, she kicked it into high drive of giving back. And every year we would go to, it was Collin Creek at the time. Stonebriar wasn't open yet. We'd go to Collin Creek Mall, and there was a tree there that was called the Salvation Tree, and there was little white angels on it, and it had someone's name and something that they would like, or things that they did like, not one thing, but things that they do like, kind of an idea. It's kind of like what Toys for Tots is now, but this is more singled out, or it was. Now it's more kind of broad. But you would go in, you would pick an angel off the tree, you would go shopping, and then you would bring it back, and that was your way of giving back to someone that couldn't afford Christmas that year, couldn't afford something that year. And we did that for as long as it was there.
Until they tore down the mall.
Until they tore down Collin Creek Mall. And now the big thing for us is there is a machine that travels around the country. I think it was over maybe the world.
I think it's the world now.
Maybe the world now.
Yeah.
It's called the Giving Machine. Yep. And it's a big red machine. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you would have seen us there last year. That was the first year it came to McKinney last year.
Yep.
And it was on the square. And you go and it's like a vending machine that has all these different things that help your community. This is community-based.
It has community and world-based.
That's right. Community and broad. So you can choose, like, there's a local homeless shelter here. Yeah,
it's different every year. So last year you had one of the local home shelters.
Yeah, there's shelter. There was the SPCA. Yeah. There was medicine for veterans. There was fertilizer for the Hugs Cafe farm. Like, there's so many different things. Yeah. But you could go in and you can spend as little or as much as you would like, and it just spits out a little thing and it drops it down, and then you can go take your picture holding kind of that thing that you donated. So that's just like the Christmas season. But Mom has always, like, put it into my brain hardcore, drove it into me that you have to give back as much as you can. You have to be selfless as much as you can, not only just in Christmas, but overall. So it's not necessarily that night was a tradition, but that night spurred traditions and good tidings and everything for decades to come and forever. I'll make sure my children know you will always give back as much as you can, because there are others that are not as fortunate as we are, and we need to make sure that everyone feels loved and taken care of to the best of our ability.
And I can totally agree with that. And you're right, that one act of kindness, as you would say, an act of love, did change my perspective on things and on how I was going to raise you and how I was going to raise Ryan and give back. And service has always been a big thing for me, right? I've always, especially since then, like whatever we can do. It doesn't have to cost money. Service doesn't always have to cost money.
Right.
I mean, you can just volunteer anywhere. That doesn't have to cost, just to help out, whether any time, Christmas, Easter, during the summer, any time, right? It can be any time that you can do that. So if you can do that, you just bring more kindness to the world.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what it boils down to, is love and kindness and the spirit of... This my throat's because I've been crying. Sorry.
Yeah, your mic's going in and out.
I know. I'm sorry. It's all the stuff, the drainage.
Well, let's talk something. Let's talk something a little happy.
Yeah, let's get happy.
This was happy. Let's talk something fun.
Yeah.
Actually,
No, this definitely was happy.
This was a happy moment, but it's something that it's just a core, like, pivotal moment in my life, and I didn't even know it was supposed to be one. But that's like the one thing I remember out of. I've had a lot of Christmases in my time. Golly, that makes me sound old. A lot of Christmases in my time. But that was the one year that sticks out every single time to me. Was just that I bolted across, and folks, I don't run. I bolted across the street. Mom, Santa came early. Santa came early. And you were like, what are you talking about? That's just, yes, amazing.
Yes. So if you have the opportunity to give back, or to do an act of kindness or an act of service for somebody that you know or don't know, or there's something out there, do it.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Please
you actually will get more out of it sometimes than they do, just because of the feeling that it gives you, that lifelong feeling. They will also get something out of it, and it could change their life like it changed Corey and I's life. Yeah. So whether it's just a service, it doesn't matter. It's just knowing that people care, and knowing that when you're in your worst despair in life and you feel like you're a total failure, like I felt like I was as a mom, God knew that I was more important than that, and he wanted to show that to me, and that's how I took it. So
I didn't think you were a failure. I think you're amazing. So I didn't think that ever. I never knew. I always thought you were incredible.
Oh, thank you. I tried my best.
Yeah, you did great. Look at me. Look at Ryan. We're both winning.
You are.
So
you are.
We will be good. It keeps us going. But
all right. So what are
fun, happy,
let's
exciting?
Get back to this.
Let's laugh a little bit now. I want to talk about Black. This isn't. It's not a Christmas tradition, but it falls into Christmas. Okay. So I'm going to talk about it anyway. Yeah. Black Friday.
Oh yes. Oh, those were so fun.
Can we go back to some 3 a.m. Black Friday days? Man, those were the days. Except, I mean, people getting trampled over and stuff like that. But the days of having to army crawl through people on the floor to get that new Sony digital camera. Remember when digital cameras came out?
I do.
And you getting all those presents so at a good deal, and then stocking up in the closet so you could be prepared for Christmas.
That was so fun. Like prior to everything, you can buy it all online a week before, and now even a month before this year. Like you just waited, right? Yeah. That was a huge family tradition for us growing up.
All of us got together.
All of us.
I'm talking. We've talked about this, and I think when we did our Thanksgiving one, we chatted about this. But to just give you a brief overview, if you didn't listen to that episode, we used to meet up in somebody's, it'd normally be mom's living room because she always corrals the troops. That's her nature. It's what she does. And we would meet up, and there would be ads for every single store that we wanted to visit, taped to the wall around the living room. It'd also be on the floor. And they would have, this is why she had children. All the adults would sit on the couch and direct the children to go right. Oh, yes, you did. You don't remember. We remember these things. Summer and I remember these things. I will bring cousin over right now.
I think we did do that like one year when we really needed to like look at it. But
we had a map.
But we did
had
have
times.
A map. Yes, we did.
We had to know who was going where.
We did. Mm-hmm.
And that was how everyone, but you always got somebody else's stuff. So, like, I always knew what my cousin was getting for Christmas because you were in charge of going and getting that family stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the other family would go get your stuff. And then the adults would go in the back alley parking lot and swap out the gifts in the trunk and make all the kids look in the floorboard while it was happening. Nowadays, it'd be a crime documentary.
I know, right? When you guys became teenagers, we brought you on to help. We needed help at these stores.
Yeah, they needed shopping carts.
Yeah, when they were younger, obviously they didn't come with us and we did it all. But when they got older, they would come with us and be our, hey, go line up in that line behind number 12 because we need that. Summer, can you go behind number 19 because we need that? We'd be their little placeholders. Exactly.
Just sitting there, just la, 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 la. We're so happy to be here.
But it was fun. And I mean, we would get together. It would be like Thanksgiving dinner, cleanup, dessert, Black Friday. We got to plan it all out. We'd lay it all out and plan it all out and talk. And then we would call, this was, we did it for years. So it was before video chat. And we would call our sisters that were on the East Coast in Georgia, Jennifer and Shauna. And then they would be like, okay, did you guys see this? This is what we want to get. We're going to call you at the same time. If we can't get it, can you get it? And even though we were like, never even think about we would have to ship it.
You got to mail it. That's fine. That's the discount right there is mailing it.
But then we're like, okay, no, did you see this in this ad? And no, I didn't see that one. Page 9, go look at it. See that? Look at that cost. If you divide it by that, you have this many gifts. It was just something that we did, and it was so fun. And then all that joy got taken away when it became not Black Friday anymore.
Yeah, it's more commercialized now, and to a point where it's just and I understand from a convenience standpoint, not everybody has access to stores next to them, so I understand it. But like, I just want 1 year where we could where all the stores man together and say, all right, we're going back to 90s Black Friday.
Or just even early 2000s.
Or early 2000s. Just one time. Just give it all back to us one more time.
It was so fun. I mean, remember that one year that it was here in McKinney, and it was icing outside.
Yeah.
But we were determined to get that jewelry box that I really wanted at Target.
Darn jewelry box.
So we were out, and it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was wet. It was cold because of the ice coming down, but we were in a line of hundreds of people, so we weren't the only crazy ones. But we were so determined, and we did that like every year, but there was just one year it was so cold.
It was cold and wet.
Yeah, and then different when it's cold and wet than when it was just cold.
Yeah.
We had plenty of just colds, right?
Yeah.
But then those are the memories, right?
Yeah, I think one of my funny ones too was one Black Friday one year. I think we got up at 2 to start at 3:30 because the first store opened at 4.
Something like that.
And Mom and I shopped from 4 a.m. Now, granted, did we spend a lot of money? No. We just went to a lot of stores and just wanted to be in the business.
Yeah,
we might have got like $4 or $5
we didn't get very
at certain
much.
things. But we shopped from 4 a.m. to 9 o'clock at night. She called Darren to come unload her car so we could get more things. Do you remember this?
Yeah,
and I literally almost
like
passed out.
But
it
wasn't like tons of stuff. It wasn't
tons.
We ended up with a few big items.
Yeah, but they weren't.
They weren't expensive.
They weren't expensive. It was like a bouncy ball and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it just took up too much space.
It just took up space in the car, and so Darren had to come, and they had to unload the car, and then she kept me in line inside. I literally fell asleep. It was at the Allen Outlets, and I fell asleep at the Famous Footwear in the store. And she said, maybe it's time to go. I literally just fell on the ground, and she was like, yep, you're done.
Yep, it was the
definition of shop until you drop.
drop.
Yes, I dropped, and I remember it vividly.
Yeah, but I mean, that's when the prices were so good. So we were at Famous Footwear to get Corey some shoes.
Because I had to have like special wide shoes. I have really big feet.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, this is when we can get the name brand for him because I couldn't afford the name brand even back then when it wasn't on sale. So it's like, okay, this is where we'll save the money. I mean, obviously we were doing a little bit better then. We, I was remarried. We had Darren.
Yeah, things were going good.
But it was still like we wanted to penny pinch where we could.
Of course. We still signed up for the rewards program at checkout.
Yep, we
to
did.
Get the additional 10% off, even though we never went back.
Exactly.
We did it. You got to do what you got to do.
Exactly. But yeah, I remember that year like very vividly because that's what I was like, I think I just literally we shopped till we dropped. And then I think we slept the whole next day.
We did.
We were so tired.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. Those are fun memories, though, right?
But it's just
and I think total altogether, like all the Christmas stuff that we bought, we probably spent $300.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. We didn't spend a ton of money.
It was just the fun, the experience. And part of that was, like you said, shoes, a couple clothes for wintertime. It was like, we also did those things too.
Exercise balls were a thing. She had to have a new purple one. That was in the backseat of the car while I was smushed up against the window. It's fine. But it's just those different things. That's fun. Another fun Christmas tradition. I know a lot of you do this possibly with your family. Well, Mom doesn't anymore. She has people to do this. Decorating the outside of your house. She's got people now. It's nice. She deserves it.
No, I have people because the roof is too tall. Because Darren would rather not have people.
Yes.
He would be like, why are we paying somebody to put the lights up? I'm like, because it's like a 20-foot roof. I don't want you up there falling.
Yeah, well, then there's a hospital bill, and then you might as well just have someone take care of the roof,
it's always the pros and cons in my life. If we do this is what the good is, and this is what the bad could be. Like, how do we want to choose? That's how our relationship is. Let's write down the pros and cons and decide together. But yeah, no, luckily, I am blessed to be able to have that now.
She's got people, and I love that for her, and she has worked very hard, and she deserves to have people. But I do remember growing up, Ryan and I always loved to decorate for Christmas. I would always make sure we pulled out all the stuff and decorated. Well, I helped sparked Ryan's interest temporarily. He still likes Christmas, but he doesn't like to decorate for it.
No, he just wants to fly over.
Yeah, he just wants to fly over and see all the lights. But growing up, Ryan and I were inseparable.
Yeah,
we were two peas in a pod. So he would help me decorate the outside of the house. Mm-hmm. And Mom had these icicle lights. And if you've ever untangled icicle lights before, folks, you know. But she had these icicle lights. And Ryan and I would spend hours sitting out in the front yard. She probably did it on purpose. Now I'm thinking. Darren and her took the lights down every year. They probably tangled them up and said, this is the way we're going to keep the kids busy when they come back. Smart. That's a good idea. But Ryan and I would spend hours sitting in the front yard pulling all those strands apart so it would be nice and good. And then he would help us, or sometimes some of the missionaries from church would come over and help hang in the lights if Darren was out of town or something like that.
Yeah.
But decorating the outside of the house, decorating the Christmas tree, was always a big thing. And so now I've moved on to Christmas trees.
No, you loved it. We were living out in
New Hope.
New Hope.
Yeah.
Then we just had this little small, quaint house, one story, older build, and he would just deck it out, and they would deck the trees, and then they would go on and put stuff on the roof, and it was just
we did like an S for Santa one year. Nothing matched.
No, because we wouldn't have been able.
Folks,
we weren't going to pay.
We had white strand rainbow lights, and we had green strand white lights, and then we had LED blue lights, and then we had yellow light. It was whatever.
It was whatever that was 50, 75% off after Black Friday type of thing.
Yeah.
We'd be like, oh, that would work with that. We'll make that all work together. It doesn't need to match. It's all about it. So, and it didn't matter. He made it all look good.
Made it work because at night, you don't know what color is what.
Yeah.
It's fine. The strand doesn't need to be white at night.
That's true.
or green at night. But I made it work. We always had a production going on, and I think we were the only house on the cul-de-sac that decorated for Christmas. So you turn down the street, and it just right there at the end.
Yeah, we were.
As many lights as we could have, I made sure we had them.
You did. No, that was super fun. And that year that you lined up the driveway, and it was dangerous because we had a dirt driveway, and when it rained, it washed out.
It was
type
very
of thing.
dangerous.
So, like, to have those there, you had to be careful pulling in not to hit the lights.
Oh yeah, we had a runway,
literally
a runway of lights, because I made sure I figured out some It's probably way against electric code, but I figured out a way to have lights running all the way down our driveway, and our driveway was 100 feet.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was because we lived back off of the road. But I wanted that little runway lights. I wanted you to pull in like the Hallmark movies, and all the driveway is lined with lights. And they weren't those big bulb ones. No, this is the traditional little tiny ones that are on a strand that don't sit up. They're just laying down the road. But it's just fun just to have that little spirit. Make it's just warm and cozy.
Yeah, no, I still love decorating. I still love to decorate the inside. And the outside is just harder, you know. That's why I need you to come over and decorate with me. Because he does such an amazing job.
I love how she strokes my ego every time when it comes to you do such an incredible job.
No, what you need to do, you know what you're going to put in here? You're going to put in a quick little short of all your trees. I'm holding you to it now.
Oh, okay.
He has like, how many, 7?
7.
7 Christmas trees, all themed. You walk in the house and you feel like you're walking into a Christmas wonderland.
I want you to walk into the Macy's catalog. Like I want you to walk into Neiman Marcus. That's the goal.
That's his thought, right? And so he's its whole house is decorated for Christmas. And it's just things that he's found on sale over the years, and he's made it all work together.
Never pay full price for anything.
No.
Ever.
And anyway, so so as we're talking about this, you should be seeing a video.
You can see a video of the different trees that are in my house.
Yeah, he's got some awesome trees.
But I've collected trees throughout the years, and it's always after Christmas when they're 85% off.
Yeah.
And I have a thing for skinny trees.
Yeah.
I just like the way they look. So they're
and they fit in the house.
And they fit in the house better.
The big ones wouldn't fit very well.
Not really. There's not a good spot in my house for a big tree.
No.
So yeah, I just have a bunch of skinny trees, and I just love the decor. I love the holiday season. I love the way it makes the house feel. Yeah. It's just cozy, and it's just fun to sit on the couch and have all the lights off and just have only the Christmas trees on.
Yeah, and then on the TV you'll have like the fireplace music.
Yep.
You know, the YouTube stuff that they have out now.
Yep.
And it just feels like
just cozy. And then
so they get to enjoy that video.
They get to enjoy that video. And going with Christmas trees, another Christmas tradition. Mom would only let us, and this probably goes back to we didn't, have a ton of funds. She would only let me keep the Christmas tree on for like an hour or two when we got home every year.
Yeah.
We get home and it turned on for a little bit because those lights take up a lot of electricity. I don't know if y'all looked at your electricity bill during Christmas time.
Well, I'm sure the older lights probably did.
Yeah, the new LEDs,
maybe the LEDs
might be a
don't
little
take as
different,
much,
but. So it was...
In my mind, it did, right? And somebody that was really a penny pincher that needed to watch, couldn't have that bill go much higher at all.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to take away that aspect of it for you when you were little.
Yeah.
So, no.
So we had the Christmas tree on for a very short amount of time. And I say short, 2 hours or so, and I went to sleep, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So we had it on but Christmas Eve, she let me keep the tree on all night long and get to wake up to it on Christmas morning. There would be times I'd wake up to make sure she still had it on, and she knew I was awake. I think she stayed up all night Christmas Eve too, making sure I was not awake. But that was the one that was the tradition, and that's my tradition too. I only let my tree stay on all night over Christmas Eve. And I wake up to them on Christmas morning.
I still do that now.
Yeah, right now they're on timers, so they're only on when
You're
I'm
so
home.
Funny.
Well, I mean, they are. I get my electric bill.
They have all this technology now, too.
Yeah. I talked to Alexa. She does it all for me now.
Oh, here we go.
I got all the smart plugs. I say, turn on Christmas trees, and she goes, doo-doo, and they're all on.
There you go. I haven't got that advanced yet, but I do have a remote control.
You have a remote control. You're there. You're halfway there.
I'm halfway there. So,
well, this was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks so much for joining us, listening to our traditions.
Take a little walk down memory lane
stories
with us.
down memory lane. And at the end of this, getting to check out some Corey's amazing Christmas trees that he has. It's just fun. Christmas is fun. Yeah. Well, however you look at it.
Christmas, the holidays, however you celebrate.
Yeah.
Is amazing. Again, thank you all. Mom, thank you for being with me. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you all so much for listening and watching us here at Corey's Cast. We do also want to say thank you so much for your continued support over this year for 2024. We look forward to being with you in 2025. We wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year.
You couldn't have said it better.
Thank you. I was waiting for you to say something else.
You had it all.
Oh, thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.